When you're well off financially, you have the means as well as the capabilities to acquire a plethora of things you desire, right? This, however, creates a conundrum for some, most notably trust funds, because when they satiate all their desires, life then loses its appeal, it loses its spice. And they try to combat this by introducing a degree of risk and danger by resorting to gambling, by resorting to consuming hard-hitting substances and drugs. But these are clearly the incorrect approach, because what they're doing, they're substituting one problem for a far worse one at that. The correct approach to solving this conundrum is to be constructive, is to exercise productivity by learning new skills, enhancing abilities, increasing your IQ, SQ, EQ, being more generous, being more considerate, making charitable donations, fundraising, and volunteering your services. And you find that these things invariably comes in the form of service to others, in the form of contribution, because in contribution, the appeals of life are abundant, insatiable. And you find that this latter approach is taken by those who have had to go through the extremely difficult process of acquiring their wealth. They had to develop and enact the discipline, regimented routines, plans to its attainment, becoming invaluable and indispensable to the world and to the marketplace as a result. Whereas you find that the former approach is taken by those who have not had to go through such hardships. They acquired their wealth rather easily, thus lose it as such. Jim Rohn once said, if you get $1 million, you best become a millionaire quickly, so you get to keep the money. Otherwise, sure enough, eventually it will disappear. Because money, wealth, or success, it's not what you get, it's what you become that counts. It's not so much about the destination, but more so about the journey itself. I'm sure you've heard that one before. These are value statements. Here's another one which I found to be of profound significance. If you add up all the money in the world and distribute it equally amongst everyone, it will soon be back in the same pockets. An incredible, veritable statement. And here's why. Money is an amplifier. Money does not change anyone. It just makes you become more of what you already are. For instance, let's say a cocaine addict or an alcoholic got $1 million. What do you think would happen? That's right, he or she would drink, sniff, or snort away their life with the ample resources at their disposal, becoming more of what they already are, a waste, unable to gain. And not only would you find that this occurs with all addicts, but with all people of wasteful proclivities. Now, let us consider a positive alternative. Let's say someone who has a conscientious, persevering mentality coupled with remitting efforts and rigorous plans to attract success. Let's say that person got $1 million. What do you suppose would happen? You'd find that he or she has doubled or tripled that $1 million at their disposal, becoming more of what they already are, gaining exponentially and expediting the timeline to their goals and ideals. And that is the key difference. People can make their greatest dreams a reality or make their greatest nightmares real based on their mindsets, based on their mentalities, proclivities. So the next time you hear the old adage that money is the root of all evil, know this: people can be, not money. Money doesn't think, money doesn't have feelings. Money is simply a tool, and a tool can be good or bad, can be constructive or destructive, depending on its usage, depending on its users' intelligence, morality, ideology, faith, or psychological state of mind. When it is used in a positive light, it provides all the life-bearing essentials, such as food, clothes, shelter, warmth, comfort, protection, safety, peace of mind, happiness, overall complete well-being. However, on the flip side of that, when it is used or coveted after in a negative light, some of the most acrimonious, atrocious, heinous acts known to men becomes prevalent, spelling decadence and disaster. And the main driving factor behind that is due to the fact that most are working for money. If you wish to attain financial freedom, you must make money work for you. And to do so, you must become self-educated. If you don't remember anything from this video, make sure you remember what I'm about to say right now. We went to school to earn salaries, to become a cog in the wheel, as in a consumer, an employee, to keep the wheel spinning. On the other hand, when we self-educate, we earn profits, which are far more lucrative than salary. And so we own the wheel, as in we become a manufacturer, a producer, an employer, entrepreneur. And the fundamental steps that are required to achieve the latter starts with us being conscious of our spending habits, differentiating wants from needs, and ridding ourselves of debts, especially debts. Now, I understand not all debts are bad. If you have a business-oriented mindset, you will go in debt to start a business, to turn liabilities into assets, to generate profits, gains, and this is the productive kind of debt that will pay off in the long run. You will get a return on your risk. But consumer debt is the debt that you should avoid at all costs. You should treat it like the plague. And if you have it, you should rid yourself of it as soon as possible, because it offers no benefits, no return whatsoever. It just consumes. It's like a financial vampire, and it will suck you dry with great pleasure. Pun intended. And this is what the banks and financial institutions love. They get a kick out of it, seeing you in consumer debt. They have a huge grin on their face from ear to ear, like the Grinch. Actually, this kind of reminds me of a story about the fox and the lion. One day, a fox was passing by a cave. and he saw a lion inside his cave. The lion appeared to be weak, feeble, sickly, unable to move, like it was on the verge of dying, of death. And so the fox stopped and asked, "Mister, what's the matter? What's wrong? What is it that's afflicting you?" The lion replied, "I don't know. I'm really not sure. Is there any way you could help me?" The fox continued to stare at the lion for a moment. Then it switches gaze, observing the environment and noticing that something was off, something was amiss, something wasn't quite right. And so he replied, "I would love to, sir, but seeing that there are footsteps going in and none coming out, I think not." See, the lion was unable to hunt for his food because it was very old, but it was also very cunning, very conniving. So he came up with a diabolical plan. He said he's going to pretend to be sick. After all, pretending to be sick when you're old is not that hard, right? It's very convincing. And so he did so, and he caught many strangers off guard and ate them alive, until the fox, that is, of course. I told you this story to demonstrate the gravity of my point. When it comes to money, there will invariably be chicanery, there will be deception. We will encounter people who will try and profit off our ignorance. They will try and exploit our weaknesses. They will try and take advantage of us. This is why you must be like the fox, because they could potentially kill your potential. So you have to be like the fox. You have to be observant. You have to be aware. You have to be vigilant. Most importantly, you must be well read. You must educate yourself. I cannot emphasize that enough. The next fundamental step, which I think is the most important, is to make wise investments. Whenever I hear or think of the word investment, a Talmud story comes to mind about the sage and an old man. One day a sage was walking along a road, and he saw an old man planting a carob tree. The sage, knowing that a carob tree takes a very long time to bear fruits, but he didn't know the exact number of years. And so he asked the old man, "How many years until this tree bears fruit?" The old man replied, 70 years. The sage then asked, "Are you so sure, so certain of your health that you will live to see another 70 years and eat from its fruits?" The old man reply, I think, was very astonishing. He said, "I found a fruitful world because my ancestors planted it for me. Likewise, I am doing the same. I am planting this carob tree for my children, grandchildren, for future generations." This story radically encapsulates the beneficial and compounding effects of investment, of selflessness, as both initiates progression. Initiate what you would like to see proliferate. This is the mindset of all great inventors and revolutionary thinkers, most notably of the past, because they gave us our agrarian, industrial, and technological foundation that service and benefit us greatly today. Our phones, vehicles, electricity, internet are testament to this fact. They did not know us, but they made sure that our lives would be much easier, much better than theirs. They invested in our future, and now we are eating fruits from their labors, from their carob tree. Moreover, you owe it to your children to invest for their future, to give them that head start in life, to give them that boost you never had, so they can go farther than you could, enabling them to do the same for their children, your grandchildren. And that is how you start a generational chain reaction of wealth. That's how you create a legacy of progression and selflessness.